This is the fifth shir on this Maamar Ve'ele Shmeis B'nei Yisrael, which is from Torah Or in Parshas Shemos, and technically we're holding around line 290, where it says V'hinei lihiyes bechinas hagilui. Maybe in yours it says 291. I have to give several introductions. Two I'm going to give now, and the third I'm going to give a little bit later. Not much later, but a little bit later. The first is that in our Maamar, we've been discussing two Yeridis. There's two Yeridis and two Aliyas, or two Galus, and accordingly two Geulas. And of course, they're represented by the Ve'ele Shmeis B'nei Yisrael Aboyim Mitzrayim, which is in Parshas Vayigash. This is the first or finer Yerida, and Ve'ele Shmeis B'nei Yisrael in the beginning of Parshas Shemos, which is the second and the lower Yerida into Galus. What's the difference? And the answer is, before Yidden went into Galus, they were in the Madrege of Shmeis Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shmeis Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in plain words, means they were sensitive to Ein Sof. The way Yidden lived, I suppose you could say in Eretz Yisrael, was such that their Avodas Hashem gave them a sensitivity to experience the elokus, the godliness, the light, the Ein Sof of the Avodas Hashem that they were involved with. Shmeis Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When they went into Galus, they no longer were sensitive to the Ein Sof, which is in their Avodas Hashem, but they still saw nisim, they still saw miracles. Now, miracles are a symptom of the Ein Sof. Because Hashem is present, there are miracles. But a miracle would be like the guf, and the Ein Sof would be like the neshama. In other words, experiencing Ein Sof is not just experiencing a miracle. That means a hand of Hashem that overrides it. Derech HaTeva, you see how the world is not an entity unto itself. There's a lakus. The first Yerida, the first Galus, that they no longer see a lakus, they only see the raya, the proof, the symptom of elokus, which is a miracle. Then there's a second Galus. The second miracle Galus is that they no longer see miracles either. And instead of seeing miracles, they see teva, and perhaps they see the hashgacha pratis, which is in teva, which is already also a higher madreg, or perhaps they don't. And if you've been following us on this journey, which is probably 7-year-old by now, in Torah Or, I've told this to you many times, that the four worlds, Atzilus, Bria, Tzira, Asiya, one of the many ways of explaining them is that Atzilus is the world where there's a gili of Ein Sof, Bria is the world where there's a gili of miracles, Yetzira is a world where there's a gili of Teva, but Hashgacha Pratis is visible, and Asiya is a world of Teva where the Hashgacha Pratis is camouflaged, is concealed, and all you see is Darkei Teva, is Helam. So the two Yerides, the two Golias of our Maamar would be, in this context, going from Atzilus to Bria. You no longer see Ein Sof, you see Nisim. And the second Yerid is you no longer see miracles, you see either Teva with Hashgacha Pratis revealed or Teva with Hashgacha Pratis hidden. And this has been the theme of the Maamar, to explain to us the two Yerides as I just described them. The second thing that I want to mention is something that our Maamar alludes to, but never really follows up on completely, which is a bit odd and deserves to be articulated, said clearly, considering the fact that the Maamar doesn't spill it out completely. And that is that the Rebbe said in the very beginning of this Maamar, the Alter Rebbe said at the very outset, that there are two Yeridis and there's two Aliyas, Yored Yeradnu and Ole Naile. But we experienced both of Yeridis when we went into Mitzrayim. We did not experience both Aliyas when we left Mitzrayim. When the Yidden went into Mitzrayim, the first Yerida is that they went from Ein Sof to Nisim, from Atzilus to Bria, and from Nisim to Teva, from Bria to Yetzira, or to Asiya. The Aliyah, when they left Mitzrayim, they went to a higher level, where they would be able to see miracles. But the second Aliyah, where they were able to see Elokus, able to see Ein Sof, this is not going to happen until Mashiach comes. So the Yerida in Mitzrayim was a double Yerida. The Aliyah from Mitzrayim is a single Aliyah. The second Aliyah is going to be when Mashiach comes. Or to say it in different words, Ilu Zachinu, as the Rebbe often said, if we would have been Zeicha, that Geula would have been a final Geula, and then there would have been a Olei Naila, a double Aliyah. Not only would we ascend from Teva to Nes, we would ascend from Nes to seeing Elokus, to seeing Ein Sof, which is going to be the Yosid Lavi. Or to say it in different words, the Sikh of the Rebbe in Chelik Yud Zayin about Pesach, where the Rebbe says that from the moment of Yetzias Mitzrayim until the Geula Hasidah is one long Geula. In other words, from Yetzias Mitzrayim until Mashiach comes, we're continuously going out of Mitzrayim. Then it began, so we had the first Aliyah, and La'asad Lavi is going to finish, we're going to have the second Aliyah. So this is what we've learned so far. That there's two Galiyas, and each Galus, there's two Galiyas in the Galus Mitzrayim, is a further concealing, a further hiding of Elokus, of revelation of Hashem's presence inside a Mitzrayim, inside a constraint. We're holding line 290 or possibly 291, I don't know which copies you have yet. And now the Rebbe says why. Why did this have to happen? Why did it have to happen that Yidden had to go into Mitzrayim, had to be double Yeridah in order for it to be a double Aliyah? What was wrong with the condition as it was before they went into Mitzrayim in the first place? So the Rebbe gives us a classic and basic answer. V'hine. V'liyes b'chinas hagil. There's a rule in Yiddishkeit, in the world, in Torah and Kabbalah, that says that if you want to reveal something, it cannot be Ella ayedei bechinas halam tchila. You have to first have a concealment. To reveal something, you have to have something which is blocking, and then there can be the revelation. For example, it says in Rishonim that the Eibishter created the light on the first day. In order for the light to have been created, there had to have been a darkness before it. In order for it to be a giloy, there has to be a helam tchila. And in Kabbalah language, it's called bechinas yud tzimtzum. The beginning of the Gili is a tzimtzum, a concealment. Hey is pashut, then there could be the hey, which is the expansion of eirech, v'reich, of length and breadth, which is the revelation. Just the way the Eibishter created the world. First there has to be darkness, and then there has to be light. Why do you have to have Golus? Why do you have to have Yored Yoradnu? Why do you have to go down into Mitzrayim on one level, and then go into Mitzrayim on a second level? It's because you have to have darkness in order to be able to have light that follows. Now, the fact that they had light before the darkness is not enough, because the way they had light before the darkness was a different inyan than the way they had the light after the darkness. And our Maamar gives no indication, no clue, no suggestion as to what's the difference between the way they had the Giluyim before and the way they had the Giluyim after. He simply states the matter of fact that since the Eibishter wanted to be a revelation, there cannot be a Gili without a tzimtzum that comes before, and that's what Golus Mitzrayim was. Says that Rabbi on line 293 or 94, V'inyan Golus Shabbat Mitzrayim. That's the concept of the Yiddish Golus in Mitzrayim. In other words, Shaho Yitzarech Liyez Gili Matan Torah. It was necessary for there to be the revelation of Matan Torah. But in order for there to be the revelation of Matan Torah, you have to first go into Mitzrayim. And again, I'm repeating. What about the fact that before they went into Mitzrayim in the first place, they also had a Giloy? That was a very different idea. The Rebbe doesn't tell us why. But in Chassidus, we learn why. Because Matan Torah was in Eidos Bekalim, light in vessels, and before was a very different thing. However, says the Rebbe, when we say that Golus Mitzrayim is a preparation for Gili Matan Torah, there's two Matan Torahs. There's two Gili of Matan Torahs, and accordingly, there's two different Yanim of Golus Mitzrayim. Number one, Matan Torah v'anigas lanu levanenu, the level of the Eibishter giving us Torah, on a level which is revealed for us. A niglas lanu levanenu means the Chochma Shabbat and the halachas and mitzvahs HaTorah, which is called Vavkev Shem Havaya Baruch, which was on a level upon him, this the Eibishter gave it to us on a level upon him. Says the Rebbe Hayadai, be Golus Redu Shana. It was enough 210 years of Golus. And after 210 years of Golus, we had a Yetziyah from that Golus to get the Torah on the Madrega of Niglas Lanu Levanenu, which means the level of Seichel HaTorah and Halachas HaTorah, all the Madrega of Nigle, which is equivalent to going out of the concealment of nature into seeing miracles. However, Lasid Lave, when Mashiach comes, she is Gala Pnimiyas HaTorah. Then there's going to be a revelation of the inner dimension of Torah, which is the idea of seeing Elokus, not just seeing miracles, but seeing the Ein Sof, the God that is behind the miracles. Ki ayin, ba'ayin yidav v'gem, our eyes are going to see Getlachkeit. V'nigla kveda v'shem v'gem, there's going to be a revelation of glory of the Eibishter. Says the Alter Rebbe on line 292, 6 approximately, you must have all of this darkness before it. Meaning to say the 2,000 years of our Golus, and maybe even more. Because you can count this man by Yesheni as part of that Choshech, and even the Golus Bavel. First you have to have an incredible darkness in order to have ultimately a greater light. The Pasuk says, that the Madreg of Vayashkem Avraham happens only in the morning. To reveal the Madreg of Avraham, who bebeked happens in the morning. After there was a darkness that came before it. So Avraham comes to represent the higher revelation, which is going to be the Yossi love. And as we know the difference between the two, now we have Seichel HaTeira and Mitzvah HaTeira. Yossi love, we're going to have the Ein Seif Shebeteira, which is of course an altogether different Indian. In order to have the Ein Seif Shebeteira, which is going to be revealed the Yossi love, you have to have a much, much longer Golus, which will get you to a much, much Eidele Yitziyah from Mitzrayim, which is going to be when Mashiach comes, where we're going to go out of the Mitzrayim of Nes and go to the Mitzrayim of Elokus. The Rebbe says, Matan Teira Yagil Shem Havayim. When the Eibush gave us the Teira, Havayim was revealed, like it says in the Pasuk Shmi Havayim Leini Daitile, that the Ovis did not have Shem Havayim, they only had Shem Shakai. Rak b'matan Teira, Nemer Anechi Havayim again, where the Eibush gave us the Teira, the revelation of Havayim. And because b'matan Teira, the revelation of Havayim, there was a union from Yidi Tzerach Aliyah, we had to have a Mitzrayim before there could be this greater Gilu. And the Mitzrayim, the 210 years of Mitzrayim, act as the darkness which came before the light, the Gili of Shem Havayim, which, as we discussed in our Maamar earlier, means miracles being revealed, but not the idea of Ein Seif being revealed. And for this went into Mitzrayim for 210 years. Now, of course, I want to add that before they went into Mitzrayim in the first place, they also had great Gili Elokus. But there was no Eides but Caleb. They didn't bring godliness down. In order to bring godliness down, they went into Golus and came out of Golus and revealed Shem Havayim. But the Shem Havayim, as it was revealed then, what you saw was not the Ein Seif, what you saw was the Nes, the symptom of the Ein Seif. Achli also love the beginning of the next paragraph, Ksiv, when Mashiach comes, the Havayim which was revealed, when the Eibush took Yidnat Mitzrayim, then is going to be considered a Lekip. In other words, Sheyiyah Gilim Mokum Elyon Yesed is going to be a much higher Havayim. The Shem Havayim to such an extent that the Havayim which was revealed by Yitzias Mitzrayim Yechoshav Rak Elikim will be comparably, relatively speaking, only like Elikim. They explained in other places in Chassidus. So we got what's called in Kabbalah Havayim Delatata, and from Havayim Delatata you have Nisim. Lost love is going to be Havayim Delayela. From Havayim Delayela you're going to have Gili of Ein Seif. When it says in Torah and in Kabbalah the concept of the great name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this means Havayim D'Liel, this means Eidin Sof, which is higher than Ishtalshalos, to reveal Eidin Sof in Ishtalshalos. As we know, before the Gimel Arachim it says twice Havayim. Now, without going into long Arichas, there's a letter from the Rebbe actually about the 4 Shittas in Gimel Arachim. It's based on a Rosh, and Hagah on the Rosh, I think in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, that brings 4 different shittas. It's a long letter from the Rebbe. I have classes that I have inside Chassidus. If you can visit Parshas Shemos, I think I have 3 classes on the Yom Midas Arachamim. I don't think I have a PDF up, but it's based on this letter from the Rebbe, the 4 different shittas. The Arizal holds that the first of the 13 principles of attributes of mercy is Kel, on the Shem and the Shem Kel. There's 2 simple rules to understand Shittas Arizal and Gimel Midas Harachim. Rule number 1 is the first midas Kel, not Hashem Hashem. And rule number 2, that Tikkun ve'emes is the 7th. If you know that emes is the middle, you have 6 before and 6 after, Kel, Rachum, Chanun, Erach, Apayim, and Rav Chesed is 6, then you have emes is 7, then you have Netzach Chesed is 8, Lalafim is 9, Nesi Oven, Nesi Pesh, Nesi Chatah, and Venake. That gets you to the 13 midas Harachim. But Havayim and Havayim before. The Arizal holds that Hashem, of course, there's different shittas about it, but according to the Arizal, Hashem before the Yom Midas Harachim. But even though they're hard, the Yom Midas Harachim, the fact that it's twice the same name is that it's 2 different madregas. So a pasuk time it doesn't say that there's a separation between the first Havayim and the second Havayim. Kishem Havayim Arishenu Mashalamayla Meishtalshlus. The first Havayim is higher than Ishtalshlus, and the second Havayim, Shem Havayim Ashenu is Havayim which is in Ishtalshlus. And from Havaya Ashena you have Nisim, from a higher than Havaya you have Ein Sof. Misham Yagi Lichuli. And the Asad Lave, we're going to have a Gila, the higher Shem Havaya, that the Elokus itself will be revealed. Al Kain, therefore, says the Rebbe, Misakav Zman Raf. This ghost lasts this long. The darkness is unbelievably deep. It's the only way to have such a great revelation. When you're going to have a greater Eid, it's a greater Chesha, which comes before. This is Pshat in Pasuk. Beis Yankov L'chuvanelcha be'er Havaya. Beis Yankov, come, let us go in Eir Havaya. Translates the Rebbe, Pirush be'er Hameir b'shem Havaya. Be'er Havaya means in what is inside Eir Havaya. So you have Eir Havaya, and be'er Havaya you have something deeper, which is Havaya D'Liela. And Beis Yankov L'chuvanelcha, what koyach are Yidden going to use to be L'chuvanelcha, the Elikus, which is inside Havaya, which is Havaya D'Liela, which is the Rabbi of Kuflamet. Says the Rebbe in Shema Yisrael Havaya, that the Madrega of Yisrael can hear Havaya, which is Yisrael Davke. This is Havaya D'Liela. In other words, Yisrael would be Atzilus, and Havaya would be higher than Atzilus, which is Nimshach into Atzilus. Well, Baruch Shem Kved Mechus Leilam Vod is coming from Atzilus and Tebriya Yankev Omri, which is the way the Rebbe brings this is a bit hard to understand, because if Baruch Shem was said by Yankev, then Shema Yisrael was said by the Shvatim. So he's learning the Gemara in Pesachim, but it's not learning the Gemara in Pesachim. Shema Yisrael Havaya means that Yisrael the Shachas to Havaya, and Baruch Shem Kved Mechus Leilam Vod, technically Yankev Avinu said it as opposed to Yisrael Avinu, so it's the lower Madrega of Zehu Yichud Yilav Yichud Tatal Lam Aviyachad Biyachad. Shay. So what did we just explain? We explained why Galus. There's two Galias, because there's two Gilas of Havaya, the lower Galus. When you go out of it, you see miracles, reveals Havaya D'Latata. The higher Galus, when you go out of it, you see Ein Seif, reveals Havaya D'Liela. So we explained in this, whatever it is, 15 lines or 20 lines, why you have to have two Galias. We also explained why one Galus is so short, relatively speaking, and the other Galus are so extraordinarily long, because they're trying to affect different revelations of Elikus. And when we left Mitzrayim, we only went out of one Galus, and we're going to Gula Mites Vashlema, take it from a yard. We're going to go out of the second Galus, and now we move on to something else. And this something else is something which in our mind has been repeated a number of times, but it must be emphasized over and over again. And that's the following. When a person learns in Chassidus about Golus, the standard model, the classic model is Kutsha B'richu Salak Lielu Lielu. That when Yidden go into Golus, two things happen. The Madrega of Shechina is called Shchinta Begalusa, goes into Golus with us, Imei Nechi Betzara. And the Madrega, which is called HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kutsha B'richu departs. Le'ela means Tezah, U'le'ela means Satika Kedish. Azeh Shtei Chassidus from Kabbalah. But this Maamar is different. This Maamar is different. And this is my third introduction, by the way. In this Maamar, we talk about Golus, and we talk about Golus being a state of concealment, and we have two different levels of Golus. We only see miracles, not Ein Sof. We only see Teva, not miracles, and so on. But the Chiddush of this Maamar is that when Golus happens, it's not the Elikus is going away. Elikus itself is being hidden within the confines of the Golus itself. So in most Maamarim, we describe Golus, the lower Madrega, the Madrega of Shechina goes into the Golus, and the higher Madrega of Kutsha B'richu goes away, goes up. And when Mashiach comes, of course, the Shechina goes out of Golus, and Kutsha B'richu is Nimshach again. But in this Maamar, all of it, both Shechina as well as Kutsha B'richu go with us into Golus. So the Rebbe now explains further the Inyan HaGolus, explains more the idea of two Eilish Meis B'nei Yisrael Aboyim Mitzrayim going into Golus, going from the level of Ein Seif to miracles, from the level of miracles to the level of Teva. And of course, as you read the Tzedek Aliyah, they have the Gilul Likus of Teira by Harsin and the Tzedek Chadash Al Azad Lavi, which is going to be even greater. And in the interim, while we're in Golus, all the Likus becomes concealed within the Golus itself. If we're going to follow the Avon of this particular Maamar, at the Pshat of Golus, that the Likus goes on into Golus with us, says the Rebbe, the Chanin, we're going to have a kasha. If, as our Maamar teaches us, and again, this is in contrast to most Maamarim to speak about Golus, that when Yin goes to the The light of Chochmei law is drawn into the Golus itself. But Alman, Stephen, in the hidden worlds, to be hidden a little bit, there should only be Nisim. But Alman, there's Galman that should be hidden even more, there shouldn't even be Nisim. Canals we explained, Im Kain Tamur, we have a question. If you go like most of the Maamarim, and most of the Maamarim explain the Kutsha B'richu Solik, so the Ikir in Golus is not so much the Golus HaShechina, but the lack of Kutsha B'richu. But if you go according to our Maamar, that Shechina is Nimshach and Kutsha B'richu is Nimshach, and maybe you don't see as high a Madreg of Yil Elikus, but hidden in the Golus along with Regas of Elikus, says the Rebbe, Eich Nikir Zeh B'Shem Golus. How is that called Golus Mitzrayim? V'aleikach tzarech li yisei dirish ta'ashuv. How is it? Ilmas, that's the day B'Shtem made the worlds. In the higher world, Hashem is more revealed. In the lower worlds, Hashem is less revealed, but He's present. So how is this Golus? This is normal procedure. Kumeshikos, as the Pasuk says, Kul lo b'chochma, sees everything was created with chochma. V'hainu, why the Asar Maamar has gone through the 10 utterances of creation. V'imkachu, say there be a since this is the order of creation, that the higher levels of God has become hidden in law madregis of godliness. Ma'inyan zelagos v'shi. But how is the idea that there's Ein Sof here, and there's miracles here, and there's Teva here, and there's no Hashgacha Pratis here, and all of the alakus from the higher level extends into the lower level? We call it ghost. That's normal ishtalshalos. That's how worlds go, from a higher world to a lower world. And the Rebbe answers. We're on line 316 or 318, depending on what printout you have. What's going to follow is 2 answers. The first answer begins now, and the second answer begins around line 329 or something like that, where it says Ve'ed Yesh Levar. I'm not sure exactly what's the difference between the 2 answers and what's bothering the Rebbe that he wants to say do different pshatim. But one way or another, the Rebbe is saying 2 different, very similar but distinct answers to explain why Yored Yeradno is considered Golus of Elikus, goes with us into the Golus itself. Acha'inyin, the first answer to the question why Golus Mitzrayim is considered Golus, if we say, as our Maamar says, that Chochmei Lo is Nimshach, it's not going away but drawn down. So the answer is, let's explain in other places in Chassidus. The idea that the Eibishter Kvayachal sleeps in Golus. Shagolus Nimshal Lishina, Golus is compared to sleep. And when one is asleep, say some his eyes are closed and he doesn't see. Meaning to say, everything is there to be seen. He's not seeing it. Kach b'golus ksiv, regarding Golus it is written, Eiseisenu leira'inu, we don't see our signs, our symbols. Now the simple translation of the word Eiseisenu leira'inu is that we don't see miracles. Right? What's the whole pasuk? Forgive me for digressing, but I want to share this with you. The pasuk is Eiseisenu leira'inu, ein eid novi, ve'ein itanu yedei admo. We don't see our signs, there's no longer any prophets, and nobody knows what the point of it all is. We don't see the end of it all. The Rebbe, of course, would quote this pasuk repeatedly and always religiously miss the middle. He would say, Eiseisenu leira'inu ve'ein itanu yedei admo, and never say the words ein eid novi. And I've had this hergish, and I've shared it with you before, because Yesh eid novi, the Rebbe himself is a novi. But nevertheless, in Golus, Eiseisenu leira'inu, we don't see any miracles, any signs. Ve'ein itanu yedei admo. So here the Rebbe translates Eiseisenu on the higher madrege. In other words, if we're talking about the Yirida into the first Golus, Eiseisenu leira'inu means you're not saying Elikus. Bechin Eiseisenu hu, Pirush Eiseisenu hu, Bechinas Eisi Satera Vatfila. Eiseis doesn't mean miracles, it means the letters of Teira and Tefillah that we learned earlier, Kol Teira Kula Shmeisav Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That in Teira and Tefillah Megala Ein Seif Mahus Shein Bechinas Amshachas Meisev Kol Amr Malach revealing Ein Sof. Ochim Begolus, in Golus, says the Rebbe like this: you should know everything is in the Golus. This is the opinion of this Maamar, that in Golus Elikus is Nimsha, including Chochmei Lo, including Ein Seif. But Ein is Galus, Ein Seif Lein Ein. To our eyes, the Ein Seif is not revealed. Raka Oisis, we do have the letters which are the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that should be conducting the Eir, but Hey Misutarim and Elamim, they're blocked and they're hidden. In other words, the Elikus is here, but it's hidden. But But the heart, that means the pintel of a yid is awake. What is the meaning of the words v'libi eid? That the heart, the pnimius of a yid knows that if I would have open eyes, I would see that the godliness is revealed. And in fact, Lamaila, the godliness is actually revealed. So again, to be consistent with this Maamar, our Maamar is teaching us that in Golus, all the Elokus goes into the Golus, but we cannot see it. Mashen came bezman abayis beis hamikdash, the post time of the beis hamikdash. Ho yes gal the Shechina lamata mamish. The Shechina was revealed mata mamish. And again, I'm repeating, when the Shechina was revealed, Kadosh Baruch was also revealed. Ho ya yeda deishmul maila, fire came down from above, lechala carbon tita carbon v'chulu, which goes on the madrega of kuchabrichul lecheira. Ava b'golus ha'alman mastir. In Golus, the Elokus is present within the Golus, but the worlds hide. Vezehu haboyim Mitzrayim, which is the meaning of the Yidden going into Mitzrayim. Shemulaboshim Hashemis, the names are in the Golus, not like in other Maimorim that the names are removed from the Golus. The names of the Shvatim go into the Golus. But it goes into the Alman b'chinas Hester v'Helam v'Chulu in a way of blockage of concealment. V'lachaynikra Shina, it's called a sleep, because Sha'agoli Einei le'Einenu, even though the Elokus is here, it's not revealed to us. Rak Lamayla v'Libi Eid, we know that Lamayla it's revealed. V'lachein b'Golus Gamkin, which is why in Golus also, although Nira Olam Kimin Hagei Noyeg, it seems to us that the world is following a normal standard, a normal pattern, a normal habit. And again, there's several madreges in this. Number one is Teva. Number two is you see the Ashgacha Pratis within Teva. Number three, you even see Nisim, but you don't see Ein Seif. Ach be'emes, the truth is, who ace in the floor is Gedelis Lavade, the Abish is doing wonders, and only he's able to do. Shehu Lavade Makeben, the Abish that sees in the Golos, says Gili Alakus, Hagam Sheinir Alein, and we don't see it. So even in the way this Maamar works, that we hold that in Zmana Golos, the Elokus is coming down into the Golos, it could still be called Golos because we're unable to see it. So the first way of answering the question, which was, we know why you have to have Golos, because you have to have darkness before light, but that the nature of the darkness is the Elokus, which is revealed, goes down into the worlds. And the Rebbe said, why is that considered Golos? That's considered normal. And the answer is because you cannot see it. The Rebbe gives a second pshat, and I'm really not entirely clear about what's the difference between the first pshat and the second pshat. But in the first pshat, the one we just finished, it's indicative, it's quite clear that the pshat is, the godliness is in the Golos and we don't see it. The Vadai, to be sure, if the Abish would allow it to be revealed in the word Bechinas Chochmei Allah, the level of Chochmei Allah, the mid-level of Ein Seif, the worlds would not block and hide. And the proof is, when the Gula was unfolding, it hadn't fully emerged, but it was behis nated, so it's the first nitzanim nidim ba'odas, there were the first indications that a Gula was coming, which would of course happen whatever, a year or two after the Makis began. Shahu, that the Gula itself is mebechinas chochmei Allah. But even before the Gula actually occurred, in anticipation of the Gula, everybody saw the miracles, the change of nature and so forth. Mishum, because in anticipation of the Gula, the words of creation are more bottled the Chochmei law, and you begin to see godliness through the miracles. Like we had the other day, the Maamar Chazal, Misha Omar, the world was created with Dibur. And Omar L'Shem V'Yadlik, made through Dibur, the Eises of Dibur, the Tzirufim of Shin, Mem, Nun, makes fire, so that is a Chemetz V'chol. Says the Rebbe, Achainu B'Gilu Haras Chochmei law Mamish. That would be true if Chochmei law was revealed, which is called Bechinas Yisrael. Mashein kein begolos in golos, as eina gilu ba'almin bechinas Chochmei law mamish. Even though we are saying in our Maamar that Chochmei law doesn't go away in golos, but it's invested within the golos, but it's not revealed. Shum bechinas nikni Yisrael lireish, the madrega of Yisrael, which is Chochmei law itself, is not revealed. There's a breaking through of a trace of this Chochmei law and Yisrael through a concealment, through a screen. And what we are getting is the madrega of Yankiv. So in the first way he explains it, the godliness is revealed, but the worlds block it. And the second way he explained it is, even though all the godness is in the galus, but what's revealed to us is only through a levush, which is a madrega of Yankov. And of course, you know how this Maamar works, and it's going to be discussed a little bit later. Again, lecha'ere, that there's two galus. In the first galus, you go from the madrega of Yisrael to the madrega of Yankov. And in the second galus, not only is Yisrael hidden, but even the madrega of Yankov is also hidden. So when it says over here, Ubechina zu nikra Yankov, that's the first galus, where you're not seeing Ein Seif, but you're seeing miracles. And the second galus, which is Eis Yankov, that Yankov himself goes into galus, you don't even see miracles. And from this level, a light shines to create the worlds, but in such a way that the godliness is covered over. And therefore, which is why the world's covered over the light, because that's not the atmos of the light which is being made, it's only a ha'ara. And therefore, you can't see the Ein Seif. So it's not the pshat that the worlds are hiding the Ein Seif, but when the Eibishter creates the worlds through the Ein Seif, only ha'ara is nimshach in the world. And for this reason as well, we can't see our miracles, our signs. How did we touch Eisei Seinu before? Before we touch Eisei Seinu, not miracles, but Eis Ateidu Tfilah Kol Ateidu Kulish Meisev Shalak Kodesh Baruch Hu, and through the Eis you're supposed to see Ein Seif. Now in the first Golos you have Eis, you have the letters Ateidu and Tfilah, you don't see the Ein Seif. How does he translate it now? As follows later in the Dafka, we don't see it. Shebe Emes, to be sure, Gam Achshav even our Akel Bashgacha Pratas Kibbutz Manahu, everything is Bashgacha, like it was in those days, because Ein Seif is present in the world. Everything like those miracles and wonders that happened in the past, we can't see it. We don't see any change. As the Gemara says in this pasuk, Hashem does miracles, but Hashem is performing miracles and we cannot see them because the worlds hide. Which is the concept of Galus Mamish. So I struggle, and I repeat again to you, I'm not sure what's the difference between the first Eifin and the second Eifin, but there are two different ways of explaining Galus. The first one is compared to Shina, and the second is that we only get the Ha'ara. The bottom line is that in this Maamar we say that when Galus occurs, the Kuchabrichu is not going away, Kuchabrichu is being Nimshach, but because it's not revealed, it's called Mitzrayim. Okay, so what will be line now? Well, 344, 35, 36. I'm not sure exactly what printout you have. The reason why in Golus, although we hold that all the levels of godliness are drawn down into the Golus, and nevertheless you are unable to see the godliness which is revealed in the Golus, and the cause is because in this second Eifin, what's revealed in the world is not from Yisrael itself, which is Rak bechinas Bnei Yisrael bechinas Yankiv v'lei bechinas Yisrael. If Yisrael itself would be revealed, which is Havaya, which is Ein Seif, then there would be no Golus. But because we're getting only from Bnei Yisrael, which is the same thing as Yankiv, Bnei Yisrael and Yankiv in the first Madrega are the same, which means we're not getting the Ein Seif, we're getting the miracles. Because Yisrael is Bechinas Chochmei Lo Mamish. Since we're getting only a Ha'ara, therefore the Golos is able to hide it further. And the example for this would be, for example. So the Rebbe wants to explain the meaning of Golos. But he wants to explain the meaning of Golus, even if you accept that the Chochmei law comes down into the Golus. The only question is whether you're getting Hashpah directly from the Chochmei law or you're getting the Hashpah from Ha'ar of Chochmei law. So he gives you a mashal. Be'ez HaSkol, if you have an idea, a creative idea, new idea. Hine, Mishamasik Eimek HaMuskal Amitase, if you reach the depth of that intuitive, that created idea truthfully, so if you get to the depth of it, you have the ability to bring it lower. You can explain it in many different ways. In one kind of letters, or with different kind of words, as much as is necessary. If you understand something very well, you can say it many different ways. You have this number of lach, of course, in Torah Or. If you don't understand it that deeply, So you may personally understand it, but you can't say it in different words. You can only repeat the words that you heard. For example, if you know what the Mishnah says, you know the halachot which the Mishnah says, but you don't understand the depth of it. You can't say it in different words. You repeat word for word what it says. You don't add, you don't diminish. But you can't put it in different words because it's not reading the depth. But if you know the depth and the inside of the intent, you're in a position to say the halachas of this Mishnah in tongue, v'diburim and words, that are different. So what's the vart in this second oif of understanding Golus? Not the pshat at the walls of the worlds hide the alakus, but rather that the gili is not coming from Chochmei law itself. It's coming from a secondary level. If Chochmei law itself would be revealed, there would be no Golus. But because Chochmei law is made through Bnei Yisrael, the Madrega of Yankiv, therefore there's an even Helen V'Hester. V'zeu sha'anu eimin, which is why we say, when we talk about Geula and the full revelation, Yehi Shmei Rabba Mavanach, that the Eibish's Shmei Rabba, his great name, should be brought down la'olam into the worlds forever. And Shmei Rabba, of course, means the higher Havaya, which is Havaya D'Liela, and Lagabi that Havaya, there's no Helen V'Hester. Peter Shabakasha, the request, Sheyia Gila Ba'alman, the revelation of the world should be Mebechin L'Shmei HaGadol Mamish, from the level of Shmei HaGadol, which is Havaya, which is higher than Seder Ishtalshlos. And Vaydezel Le'yastiru Alman Klal, it becomes impossible for the worlds to block and hide against Havaya D'Liela. When the years of Havaya D'Letato, which is called Bnei Yisrael and Yankiv, so in the lower worlds, any Tanya De Admo, we don't see a Lakus. When the years of Chochmei law, it's impossible to hide it. And again, all of this is necessary because in our Maamar we understand that in Zman HaGolus, Kutchabrichu is not Mistalik, but it's Nimshach and Misalim. And now the Rebbe repeats the Gansa Maisen Nachamo. Where are we holding now? We're at, I don't know exactly what line we're holding, but the paragraph begins with the word V'sheiresh Hadvarim Hu. I'm not going to give you lange droshes. I'm just going to give you simple facts, okay? The Rebbe here is going to mention two levels, Yisrael Saba and Yisrael Zuta. There's a higher level than both Yisrael Saba and Yisrael Zuta, which is called Yisrael D'Liela. Yisrael D'Liela would be the Madrega of Eidin Seif of Chochmei law by itself, where we said before there could be no Golus. Yisrael D'Liela is concealed in Yisrael Zuta, and Yisrael Zuta B'chlal is Chitenis HaChochma. If you're familiar with the Lashenos, Yisrael Zuta and Tvuna. Yisrael Zuta is the Chitenis of Chochma, and Tvuna is Chitenis of Bina. There's a concept in Kabbalah called Yichud Yisrael Saba Tvuna. So Yisrael Saba is the Chitenis of Yisrael D'Liela. And Yisrael Zuta is much lower. Yisrael Zuta is the Madrega of the Midas, of Zoh. And the Rebbe is going to explain to us that, I suppose, Yisrael D'Le'elu would be Geula, Yisrael Saba would be one Golus, and Yisrael Zuta would be a second Golus. And let's read it. This is Pashat, the same idea as we had earlier in the Maamar, but now we're saying it in Lashon HaKabbalah. In other words, the two Yerides. The first Yerid, they're going away from Ein Sof to miracles. And the second Yerid, they're going away from miracles to Hashgacha Pratis and to Teva, which correspond to the two Eilish Shmeis B'nei Yisrael Aboyim Mitzrayim and Vayigish. And Shmeis now is going to explain the signet from Kabbalah. V'sheiresh Advarim, who the root of it is. Hini Yesh Yisrael Saba v'Yisrael Zuta. There's a Madrega of Yisrael Saba, which is the Chitzenius of Chochma, and Yisrael Zuta, which is Midas. Pirush, the meaning is as Yisrael, the meaning of what Yisrael itself is Liresh, the head, which is the Madrega of Chochma. And as I told you earlier, Chochmei law is called Yisrael D'Liela. Ach Atzma is Chochmei law that exists by itself. What we're calling Chochmei D'Liela, which means the Gili of Ein Sof itself, is called Chochmei. It's a level of Chochmei that nobody could know. And Ef Shalahasig, it's an unknown, Kihu Kameshu Yisbarach Lavadehu. This Madreg of Chochmah, which is Chochmei law itself, which is just called Yisrael D'Liela, nobody could reach it because this is the Madreg of the Eibish's Chochmah, even if he would not be made it himself to create a world whatsoever. Gam Ilu Le'bar Ha'elam is even if he did not create the worlds at all. Rak, it is only that there's something called Bechinas Nehi the Abba. The Netzach Heidev Yiseden Chochma, this could come down into the world, and this is called Yisrael Saba. Me'idim shine, radiate, Lias Makala Elos, be a source for the world, Vinasa Meich and Lazada, become the Pnimius of the Midas of Atzilus. Ve'inyan Nehi, and the concept of Nehi is Aderech, Moshe Klois Yeis, is Eich Lashpia, Ein Beger Sakedish, Allah Mashal Nitza. It says in Iger Sakedish Simin Tezvov that Nehi are necessary to get things done practically. You have an idea in theory, you do it practically by overcoming obstacles, which is Nehi. So the Nehi of Abba is the koyach to bring Chochma down into a practical level, to teach it to a lower level. The Bechinas Nehi the Abba is called Yisrael Saba. The ancient Yisrael is a high level, but it's not Yisrael de Liela. And he says, Pirush b'nei Yisrael aboyim Mitzrayim. What does it mean, b'nei Yisrael, the sons of Yisrael, as opposed to Yisrael itself, which are going into Mitzrayim, and Amshachad b'chinas Chochma now. The madreg of the Chochma we discussed before, Shenikri Yisrael Saba, which is called Yisrael Saba. So we're talking about, not talking about Yisrael De'Leila at all, because Yisrael De'Leila would not allow for Golus. But because it's only a Hara the Yisrael De'Leila, which is called Yisrael Zuta, when Yisrael Zuta goes into Eisias HaMachshava, you have another tzimtzum. So Bnei Yisrael is the madrege of Yisrael Saba. And Bnei Yisrael, which is the madrege of Yisrael Saba, is also called Yankiv. Yankiv Shemechin Zacharayim the Abba. Yankiv is also the lower madrege of Chochma. HaMislabish Betfuna Nikra Bein Li Yisrael Zeh. So Yankiv and Bnei Yisrael the same madrege. Shu Yisrael Saba Nehi the Abba. The point is, from Yisrael to Le'ela there can't be Golus. But because we only have Ha'ara of the Yisrael, which is called Yisrael Zuta, and Yisrael Saba, and Yisrael Saba is the Madrega of Bnei Yisrael, and Yisrael Saba is the Madrega of Yankiv, it's a great Gilei Lakus, but it's not the highest Madrega. And because it's not the highest Madrega of Gilei Lakus, when it's Nimshach lower, it becomes an infant Helen Behesed. Says the Rebbe, V'zeh Shekaseh Parshas Vayigash Ve'elish Meis Bnei Yisrael, Yankiv of one of Yankiv Atzma B'chal Bnei Yisrael Yichuna. That Yankiv is amongst the Bnei Yisrael. Bnei Yisrael are going into Golus, and Yankiv himself is going into Golus, but the Bnei Yisrael level and the Yankiv level is revealed in this Golus. The only thing that's not revealed is Yisrael D'Liela. This is talking about the revelation of Yisrael Saba. Hanimshach Beis HaMachshava that comes on into the higher level of Golus, letters of thought. Valkein Lekabe B'chen Yisrael Saba, Nikri Yankiv Bnei Yisrael B'chulu, compared to Yisrael Saba, Yankiv is the same thing as Bnei Yisrael. So Bnei Yisrael means the children of Yisrael Saba, not Yisrael D'Liela. And Yankiv, the same madrega as Yisrael, as the Bnei Yisrael. Says the Rebbe, this is the first descent, how the letters of the Eibish's thought conceal over Yisrael Saba, which is the madrega Bnei Yisrael or Yankiv. And these letters of thought are also considered Mitzrayim. They're also letters. And they're also vessels which limit light. That even though all of us understand the nature of Eisias HaMachshava are one with the Nefesh, right? The Miyuchadim in my Nefesh. When a person thinks they're talking to themselves, when a person thinks they're talking to himself, he doesn't have to concern himself with how somebody else is going to understand him, as long as he understands himself. Says the Rebbe, the very fact that you're thinking about it in detailed letters, in explaining it to yourself, is a huge symptom. And Yisrael Saba becomes hidden in the Eisias HaMachshava of Elokus, which is the Madrega of Bnei Yisrael, the children of Yisrael Saba, and the Madrega of Yankiv. So again, let's use Eisias. Let's repeat ourselves. Yisrael D'Liela, if it would be revealed, there can't possibly be a Golus. Yisrael Saba is the Chitzenius of Yisrael D'Liela. When the hashpah, which comes into the Golus, is not from Yisrael D'Le'ela, but from Yisrael Saba, it's possible to be Golus, and what we get is even less than Yisrael Saba. What's less than Yisrael Saba? B'nei Yisrael and Yankiv. So from Yisrael Saba itself, I guess there would be some kind of a Gilei Lakus, some kind of a Gilei of Ein Seif. But from Bnei Yisrael and from Yankiv, the godliness is completely hidden. All you have is the chitzenius of the Ein Seif, which, as we discussed before, is miracles. But then the Rebbe says, Vayid HaBeis, the second Yerid. And the second Yerid is Be'eses HaDibur, in letters of speech. And of course, the difference between speech and thought has been discussed by us at length. That when you're speaking to somebody else. And when you're speaking to somebody else, it's not only the fact that you're revealing it to the other person, but you have to worry about how you sound. You can't just concern yourself with what you're saying. You have to concern yourself with how you're saying it. And that other person has to understand it. So there's an incredibly additional component of tzimtzum in dibur, la'agabe the component of tzimtzum in machshava. So even machshava is a tzimtzum of a Yisrael Saba, but dibur is a double tzimtzum. Parshas Shemos, Pam Beis ve'Eila Shmeis b'nei Yisrael, which is why it says in the beginning of Sefer Shmeis, a second time the Shmeis b'nei Yisrael b'yim Mitzrayma, because in this case you're talking about a lower Yisrael, which is being lost in Eitzis HaDibur. V'Adibur mekabel mebchinas Yisrael zuta. It's a different Yisrael. So the signon of Kabbalah, when it says in Parshas Vayigash ve'Eila Shmeis b'nei Yisrael, Yisrael means Yisrael Saba. And in the sign of Kabbalah, when it says in the beginning of Shmeis ve'Eila Shmeis b'nei Yisrael b'yim Mitzrayim, means Yisrael Zuta. So the basic point is, if it would be Yisrael D'Li'ela, there couldn't be a Galus. Because it's Yisrael Saba, it could be concealed, and because it's Yisrael Zuta, it can certainly be concealed. V'adibur mekabel mibechin Yisrael Zuta. The Eibishter's words of speech are even less than Yisrael Zuta. Yisrael Zuta is revealing Avai Dilatata, and the Dibur hides this, and to use oisius, which are sort of established by us in our learning, Yisrael Zuta would be miracles. Not the Lakus, but miracles. Dibur, which is hiding Yisrael Zuta, is you can't even see the nest, you only see the Teva or the Ashgacha Pratis. Kihine Yisrael Zuta, haine bechin ezo. Yisrael Zuta is the Midas. Yisrael D'Li'ela is Chochma. Yisrael Saba is Nehida Chochma. Yisrael Zuta is Zo. Ki agam shezo haine vav k'tavat atilas chasdik vura chasagas nehi, even though Zo is only the 6 Midas. And if it's a 6 Midas, what does it have to do with the union of Chochmah? And the Teretz says, Akar Shameich and Davon Nislap Shubei. There's a notion where Chochmah and Bina come into the Midas. And then Nikra Yisrael. When the Moich come into the Midas is also called Yisrael. But understand, that when the Moich and Nimshach into the Midas, and therefore the Midas is also called Yisrael, it's a very different Yisrael. You have 3 different Yisraels, in other words. And accordingly, you have to have 3 different Bnei Yisraels, which is 3 different Yankivs. If you're talking about Yisrael D'Li'ela, the Bnei Yisrael is the same as Yisrael. If you're talking about Yisrael Zuta, the Bnei Yisrael is less than the Yisrael. I'm sorry, but Yisrael Saba, the Bnei Yisrael is less than the Yisrael Saba. And if you're talking about Yisrael Zuta, it's even less. So although when Moicher and Nimshach into Midas is called Yisrael, but the level of Yisrael, which is Nimshach, is Yisrael Zuta. God is the great distinction. Everybody understands that there's a very big difference between feelings and emotions as they are by themselves and as feelings or emotions are inspired by one's intelligence. The famous example was Alter Rabbi Tanya Perek Vav. Lamata, down here at Tinik, children. Why are they neach liches? They get angry so easily because they have no seichel. The person whose emotions are based on their intelligence, kasha liches, he doesn't get angry as easily. So although Yisrael Zuta is Mides, but it's called Yisrael when Moicher and Nimshach into Mides to temper them a little bit. V'lachein anu eimrim ova rachaman. Of means Chachma, Rachaman means Midas. How does ova rachaman go together? Translates the Rebbe shebechinas Chachma mekeda racham. Chachma, the source of compassion. V'lachein gashamechem idim bezon nikri Yisrael. There's a concept of Yisrael in Midas as well. How does Yisrael come to Midas? Yisrael is Eisis Mali Reish. And Reish means Meichin, and Teretz is it's Meichin, which is Nimshach in the Midas. Ach mekomokam, at the same time, it's only called Yisrael Zuta. Kurakam Shachas HaMeichin b'Midas. Yisrael Saba and Yisrael D'Li'ela is Madregas of Meichin themselves. Yisrael Zuta is a Meichin and Nimshach in the Midas. Mashen can Yisrael Saba, as opposed to Yisrael Saba, Zeu and Hida, Abba Atzmei, that's the way Yisrael is in Meichin itself, but never then it's in Chitzenius HaMeichin. Al derech moshla seichel atzmei. So Yisrael D'Li'ela is what the Rebbe called before Chakim Lebe Chochma Yediyah. From that, Madrega there won't be Golos. Yisrael Sabet seichel itself, but Madrega seichel itself, which produces the Golos of Bnei Yisrael and Yankiv. And Yisrael Zuta is Meichin, which is into Midas, which is even lower. Says the Rebbe Hinam Bechin Yisrael Zuta from this lower level of Yisrael. Shehuzah Nimshach Bebechinis Eisies Hadibur comes down into words of speech which hide even more. Kamosh Ladibur, like for example words, spoken words. Shemekabel Mehevel Aleif, which comes from the heart. Shebe Mishkan Midas comes from the seat of the emotion. So here the Mashmoah says Eisies Hadibur come from Midas, and Eisies Machshava come from where? Of course, the Ein Truth come from Pnimiyas Hamidus, but let's leave that alone. V'zehu inyan ve'elish shmeis b'nei Yisrael and then Parshas Shmeis. That's why to the second time ve'elish shmeis b'nei Yisrael. It's a different Yisrael. They call Yayirid HaBeit Shem Shachazah be'eis Yes HaDibur. V'alkein in this case Bechinas Yankiv Leinika b'nei Yisrael. Yankiv is not called b'nei Yisrael because Yankiv is higher than b'nei Yisrael. In the first Oifen, we Yisrael Saba. So b'nei Yisrael and Yankiv are the same thing. But now that Yisrael means Yisrael Zuta, which is really Midas, they only have Moich and Yankiv is higher than it. Ki Yankiv is Acharayim de Abba. Yankiv is the back of Chochma, Eini ben li Yisrael Zuta la'achal denach Moshe. He's the same Madreg as Bnei Yisrael, if Yisrael is Yisrael Saba, but he's not the same Madreg as Bnei Yisrael, if Yisrael means Yisrael Zuta. V'zeh, which is why in the second time around it says Bnei Yisrael Aboy Mesayim Es Yankiv. In other words, Bnei Yisrael over here means the children of Yisrael Zuta, which is the lower Madrega of Galus. And then the children of Yisrael Zuta are not the same thing as Yankiv. Yankiv is comparable to Yisrael itself. Shadibur Mebchabas Mebchinas Bnei Yisrael Zuta, which is the same thing as Madregas Yankiv. And that's how the Maamar finishes. So the Alter Rebbe here at the end of this Maamar repeats everything our Maamar said using the signet of Kabbalah. So what remains to be said in the way of a conclusion? What remains to be said in a way of a conclusion is the idea of Olin Island, that there's two aliyas. There's two galiyas. One galus is that you lose a connection to Gili Alakus and you see a world, but you see miracles in the world. A second galus is you don't see miracles either. When we left Mitzrayim, Hashem showed us many miracles. And the miracles continued, of course, in Eretz Yisrael. And this is connected to the Nigel Torah which we have. La'ased Love, we're going to have a second aliyah, which is going to be a revelation of Ein Seif, which is going to be connected to the Torah which we're going to have then, which will be a Torah, which is the Madrega of Re'iyah, Torah and the Madrega of Ein Seif.